I've got to get you in now on this just the last 24 hours. The all of this, I think that's sort of been floating around, and you've certainly been a pioneer in so much of the discourse on it, has really come to a head, I think, in the last 24 hours. This tariff the call centers idea that reportedly is being discussed within the walls of the White House. Then, of course, this huge online pushback scandal that seems to have backfired. This conservative influencers getting busted for spreading talking points to attack any of these ideas and all of this that the president's putting out. How do you chop that all together, and what do you think is driving all of this?
Well, I think it's been clear for a while to anyone who's actually worried about the United States and its continuation as a people that mass immigration, not just illegal, but legal, is a huge problem. This is why we had the big knockdown drag out with the tech right over Christmas, because even after it seemed like conservatives had finally won this victory on immigration, we were going to see big changes from the Trump administration. It was clear that the interest of many different business communities was to continue to bring in a large amount of people through the H-1B program. Of course, we know that many Indians have come to the United States and monopolized things like hotel chains and liquor stores, gas stations, and now we see trucking and others seeming to be taken over by what is more or less an ethnic mafia moving into the United States. And this means more and more people are skeptical about immigration from India coming over. They don't think that ultimately there should be some kind of special carve out for India. It shouldn't receive some kind of special relationship. Yes, we can see what India is getting out of this deal, but it's very hard to see what it's doing for the average American. And that pressure building inside the movement has apparently adversely affected some of the interest in Washington, or at least some of India's interest, because apparently some influencers were being compensated to speak in support of them. And, you know, we've seen this from time to time. We've seen people come out and talk about how we need to protect India. They're actually an ally. It's usually people like Nikki Haley, where you can kind of figure out where that motivation is coming from. But now we're starting to see large Twitter accounts who previously didn't seem to have a lot of connections to India using that type of rhetoric. It's very clear that they're scared that America is actually looking at really being nationalistic, actually protecting its own economy, ensuring that its jobs and businesses are operated by Americans. And they certainly don't want to see a lot of sanctions coming from people like President Trump. We've got rumors now that President Trump is considering basically shutting down all IT immigration from India into the United States. No new tech immigration from India. That's, of course, a huge boon to many American workers who would desperately love to have the type of jobs that are currently being given to Indians in the United States. I personally know several people who work in the tech industry and said, look, I just can't advance any further because they only hire Indians for those jobs. And as an American, I'm cut out.